Welcome everybody to a virtual Be In by the Numbers. We went ahead and held this one virtually because we spent quite a bit of money on the last one. We had our real estate development summit, which was for an extended period of time, a couple extra hours. So with this one, we thought we'd save a little bit of money in the expense line and go ahead and do this one virtually. First, I want to thank our sponsors. So our neighbors, Illinois State University, Central Illinois Regional Airport, WGLT, Servin, Cumulus Radio, The Bull, Cities 92.9, and Magic 99.5. For those that don't know me, my name is Patrick Hoban. I'm the CEO here at the Bloomington-Normal Economic Development Council. I ended up getting a bachelor's in organizational leadership from Millikan University. I went through the Economic Development Finance Professional designation from the National Development Council, completed the Economic Development Institute through the University of Oklahoma. Actually, one of our employees, Casey Peterson, recently just got back from his second year in that last week. Became a certified economic developer from the International Economic Development Council, finished up with a master's in business analytics from the University of Notre Dame. And I'm currently enrolled in the Chicago School of Professional Psychology, working on a PhD in business psychology. Okay, being that it is May the 4th, I had to go with the Star Wars theme, so that's what we're working on for today. I'm sure that Jamie and Matt will appreciate all of the fun quotes that I've written here. We're going to follow the same formula that we have since we started this. Since I took over, that's really assessing the overall impact of what the numbers are of our economy, how we reacted the last quarter, and then as we adapt going forward, what we're going to work on. So right off the bat, impact-wise, focus determines your reality. So we're going to take a look at different numbers that came through last quarter. We always like to look at two different sets of numbers when it comes to employment. There is some confusion sometimes when it comes to LAUS, which is your local area unemployment statistics, versus your CES, which is the current employment statistics. So whenever we're talking about the MSA as a whole, anytime you see Bloomington and rankings, all the data that we're looking at is for the Bloomington MSA, which includes Bloomington, the town of Normal, McLean County, but also DeWitt County. So it's important to note that it's not just the city of Bloomington, but the entire MSA is the numbers that we're looking for. And this chart will show the inflow and the outflow. This data is a little bit old. We do have some better software that can show inflow and outflow, but the darker green shows the amount of people that come in town every day to work. The lighter green arrow heading out shows people that leave every single day, and then that circle are the amount of people that live here and work here at the same time. So the first number we're going to look at is the local area unemployment statistics. LAUS is the one that gets reported a lot in the media. It's the easier one to find. It's the one that dictates our unemployment rate. But this is really important to note that it is based off of where you live, regardless of where you work. So if you see a lot more people working in Peoria, there's a good chance that they're actually driving over to Rebranding. So this does not matter where you work. It is your workforce where they're employed at. So for us, yeah, same thing. We got 57,000 that work and live here, and then we've got 28,000 that work somewhere else. So at LAUS, this is the demographic world. Either way, though, unemployment is down, which is what you want to see compared to last year. It's not so great whenever you're trying to attract businesses here because they want to see that there is an available workforce. So some areas that do have a higher unemployment count, it's easy to say that we have a ready workforce for you. Ours continues to remain low. The unemployment or the employment itself continues to move up, which is what we want to see. We're starting to see some more numbers being counted now that weren't before when it comes to manufacturing. So it's nice to see that. We are beating last year, not by much. We're hoping that's going to continue to go up. And then the overall labor force, of course, is the combination of the unemployed plus the employed. That is going up over the state this year. The formula, so if you take the employed plus the unemployed, like I said, that gives your labor force. If you divide the unemployed by the total labor force, that's where that rate comes from. So it's just a ratio. Our ratio continues to be one of the lowest in the state. You can see the green line in Illinois. We're well below that. And you can see our surrounding areas when it comes to Champaign, Decatur, Peoria. Champaign is always really close to us, being another college town. We track the same, but we've historically been below them since I've been here the last 3 years. Now, the one that's more important here at the EDC for us is the amount of jobs that are actually in our community, regardless of where people work. Ideally, we want the residents to move here. Hopefully, when we get some more housing, but for the time being, whenever we're working on different expansion projects or tracking new businesses, these are the numbers that we're tracking. So this, again, is based off people that live and work here, and then also people that might live in Peoria and drive over. So that number is also ticking up quite a bit. You can see that we're 3,000 higher than we were the year before. We expect this to continue as some of the Bureau of Labor Statistic data catches up to some of the manufacturing numbers. That was something I mentioned, I believe, towards the end of last year, that they're finally counting everything that was at Rivian because it's flat. So it's nice to see this coming out. This is our not seasonally adjusted. Then the seasonally adjusted to same thing. We're up close to 3,000 compared to last year. So more people are working in our NSA, which is what we like to see. Now, this is the one that I wanted to do specifically for manufacturing because the numbers have not been keeping up. They finally are. So you can see in the 2021 data, and there is a big lag. These come out quarterly. So the latest numbers that we have for the QCEW is 2022 of September, but that is a massive jump of about 7,000, well, 6,000 some employees in the manufacturing sector. So in 2021, basically Rivian and Brandt were not showing up. And now 2022, they're finally showing up, and you can see that will continue as more of those come in. The QCEW is ahead of current employment statistics and LAUS, so eventually that will catch up. But yeah, we're going to continue to see this trend. Retail sales trends. This is one that we constantly see going up. You can see that we've got 2021 in the blue, 2022 in the orange, and the latest numbers in 2023 are far exceeding even 2022 and well above 2021. So keep spending locally, like that those dollars back. That's a major funding source for not only the county, but the city and the county. So if you've got opportunity, please shop local. Let's keep those dollars in this area, because if you shop somewhere else, you're honestly fixing somebody else's roads and you have other infrastructure. So we'd like to see that ripple effect in our area. The investment for last year ended up being around 286 for the year before, and then we hit permit count at a total of 302. So overall for the year, we were up on permits and then also up on investments. I'm not sure that's going to continue this year as Rivian starts to level up on their investment. There could be more coming out, just industrial in general. A lot of the RFPs projects that we're working on, you'll see later on, are in manufacturing, so that could come. But for projected outlook right now, Ferrero is under construction, so you'll see those coming in for this year. But last year, I mean, if we hit this again, clearing over 200 million, I would be surprised, but we will see. So Raction, what did we do last year or last quarter whenever it came to the overall strategic plan? I've talked about this many times, our overall flywheel, but the idea is that if we have good resources, that our businesses will develop. And if the businesses develop, we end up getting more investment back in the community, which we can in turn invest back into the resources. Biggest resources are infrastructure. So if we don't have infrastructure, we're basically going to slow down all development. The most important one to me is the workforce. If we don't have the workforce, then our current businesses are really going to suffer. So we're doing a little bit in a lot of these, but some we don't touch, like light elimination or. So the board itself, we do have multiple committees. I just met with an investor yesterday that was interested in getting involved in a committee. If you are an EDC investor and want to get more involved, we need your help. We're always looking for ideas. Especially lead wise. So we want to make sure that we're aware of every available property that is for sale, or even maybe not publicly for sale, but if the right deal came around. Business and entrepreneurship, we are trying to figure this one out. Entrepreneurship is not in my background, but luckily we've got some great partners at ISU and Illinois Wesleyan and our SBDC working on this right now. But the more people that can get involved, I think that this is a great opportunity for our community, especially because we have a lot of trailing spouses, and being a multiple college town, there is a lot of young individuals with great ideas. And we have the infrastructure to map some of the surrounding communities. I think that we can really capitalize on that. And of course, the last one, the workforce committee. I mean, anyone that can help us solve this is a nationwide issue. But good partnerships with our school districts, Harvard Community College, of course, and a couple other things we'll go on to later with the chamber and in STEM. All right, how are we solving this? We did launch a new plan. If anyone wants a copy of our strategic plan, my email will be up later on. We'll give you a copy of this, but we're going to go through the plan. You can see a couple of items have been completed since last time. We met at the Real Estate Development Summit, and we also completed one voice. But we've got 15. You can see that the bulk of them are in the developed investment side. That's usually what we're known for. A couple, only 2 in developing businesses. That's usually what our Chamber of Commerce specializes in. And then resource-wise, we do have 4 initiatives that are in that. So our first one, the project management. These are always fun whenever it comes to naming these. So we are currently, you can see lots of manufacturing. This is still the ripple effect from our the pandemic, when people were getting tired of seeing their products being stuck out in our ports. It was locked up. A lot of foreign direct investors are starting to come over and invest in our community, in our area, but also reshoring is taking place. So instead of manufacturing it overseas and shipping it over, that everyone's interested in manufacturing here. We're getting a lot of hits because of all the great things that we're manufacturing now. Primarily, we have not been known as a manufacturing community, but as that investment continues and as that workforce continues to grow, thanks to Hartwood Community College, we want to make sure we're capitalizing on that and selling this to as many people as possible. This continues. You can see again manufacturing on there. There was a cold storage prospect, which we think would be great out of our airport. Some office, not a lot, but mostly warehouse distribution. Retail every now and again, but we do not attract retail. But if a retailer approaches us, we hand it off to the right economic development pros, either at the city or at the town or rural areas. So far, Q1, we're looking at 21 projects. We average between 80 and 100 a year. So I have 21 right now. We're tracking. It's usually slower towards the beginning of the year. This really picks up over the summer. This is a big one for us. So number 2, most important thing that we do is business retention and expansion, and that is taking care of our businesses. And I want to welcome Carl Teichman. There was an opportunity with Carl getting ready to retire from Illinois Wesleyan, and we had an opening to shift some things around here at the EDC. And if you don't know Carl, a little bit of background, he is the Director of Government and Community Relations with Illinois Wesleyan University. He's a graduate of both Illinois Wesleyan and ISU. He is on the McLean County Museum of History Board of Directors. He is the McLean County Regional Planning Commission since 2006, 2017 Town of Normal Citizen of the Year, and 2018 Advocate of the Year by the Federation of Independent Illinois Colleges. Carl is going to be plug and play. Like literally, this is an easy hire for us because his role in the past was building relationships with the community. Business retention expansion is all about continuing those relationships. So any businesses that are out there, we want to make sure that 1, we're thanking you for doing business here. 2, wanting to know if you're in growth mode. And if you're not in growth mode, we want to know what those barriers are, because there's a commonality, and that's something that we can partner with not only the Chamber of Commerce, but local municipalities, the state, even the feds, to see how we can help you get back into growth mode. So that's going to be Carl's full-time gig. He will start on Fridays next Friday, but then full-time on June 1st. So we're looking at adding him to the team. Be on the lookout. Anyone that's met Carl in the past, please follow up. We'll have his contact information later to set up some meetings, but welcome, Carl. Really excited to have you going. The next one we got on here is Nick Duffel, our project manager, who is in charge of answering our RFPs and our developer relations, actually moved on to Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, where he's got a big promotion. It's a similar position to mine, where he'll be doing business dev, BRE, attraction, workforce dev, entrepreneurship, and advocacy. I honestly chalk this one up to karma. As soon as I finished University of Oklahoma's Economic Development Institute, I moved every 3 years to a new community 3 times. So Nick just hit his 3-year anniversary. He just completed the University of Oklahoma's Economic Development Institute, and now he is on to bigger and better things. He will be missed. Nice guy, tons of potential, but looking forward to watching his career progress. With that means that Nick's position was open, and we're happy to announce that we promoted Casey Peterson. So Casey Peterson, as many of you know, was our business retention and expansion manager. This was an opportunity not only to shift him into Nick's position for the RFPs and developer relations, but to promote him to take on my attraction duties. So Casey will be the one that is going around the country bringing leads back, especially with some of the chambers of commerce and foreign direct investment opportunities up in Chicago. Casey's going to be out there to sell. For those of you that don't know Casey, he got his master's degree in community and economic development from Illinois State University. He was a Stevenson Fellow, He ended up being a planning fellow at McLean County Regional Planning. He was the director of rural development for Greater Peoria's EDC and formerly the DRE manager. So kudos to Casey, great work. Looking forward to what he does in this space. But it's also really a way for him to be a holistic economic developer to transition from DRE to now learning the real estate side. And then the last big one is how to structure a deal. So we're working on that in the background too, but we're really trying to get him well-rounded to be ready to hopefully take over this role someday if I ever do go on to the next place. Business attraction, number 4, that's Casey's gig now. So Casey did attend economics. I believe this was last year, but this is a great one. Thanks to our partners over at Corn Belt. We go with them, a lot of regional economic developers as well to go meet with site selectors. So site selector conferences are a great way for us to tell our story. Like I mentioned, Casey just got back from the Economic Development Institute, and it's amazing to hear how many people know about Bloomington-Normal now. We are a very hot market. They hear about the deals and investment that are going on. Thanks to Rivian, Brandt, State Farm continues to invest, and also Ferrero is a great story. And we do send out a lot of chocolate across the country to let everybody know all the great things that are happening. The next one we got, which we did complete, was One Voice. We did this at the beginning of March. One Voice is a great opportunity to take 30 local leaders out to DC. We normally focus on 3 projects. So throughout the year, and even right now, we're looking for next year's projects. We just try to find out what those needs are. Projects for this year was Benward, our water reclamation district. They've got plenty of upgrades. It's out of sight, out of mind, but we also know there's a lot of dollars being allocated for sewer work. So it's a great opportunity to take that project. Another one was our airport, the road access. If you guys think about where Airport Road dead ends into the airport now, this was an opportunity to continue that road and actually get it to go directly to FedEx. And the idea is that right now FedEx trucks are taking the passenger routes, and this will get them to go straight into their own route, which will open up the airport for industrial, hopefully some cold storage development as well, making it more marketable. And the last one, we can all remember some of the drainage issues that we had during some of the heavier storms. So again, out of sight, out of mind, great project. And also happy to report that somehow, I've never seen this before, but all 3 of the projects from last year and a project from years before, Hamilton Road, all got funding recommendations by both LaHood and Sorensen. So we're very thankful for them. This is proof that this trip does work. It's great to go out there as a whole with Twin Cities and a great county to say these are our 3 focus areas and your entire community is behind us. And to see those dollars starting to come back. We look forward to doing these in the future. If anyone is aware of any projects or investments, like I said, we're already looking for next year. And if you want to get involved and go with us, it's a great trip, not only for bonding, but just to see how the process works. So you can get a hold of me for that. Next one on the list, number 6, be in STEM. So this is a big one. I had a great event recently. I'm not sure if press release has gone out on it yet. So we'll let our consultant, Rebecca Henderson, handle that one. But be in STEM is very important. It is almost the first phase of workforce development, getting that K through 12, the future workforce interested in what's going on in their own backyard. We got multiple programs. The Heat Academy is a big one. Ian Explore and the Loop. For more information on those, please check out ianstem.org. But there is an event that's coming up pretty soon, and that is the Computer Science Week. And so this one, there is a link on here, but it's going to be July 17th through the 21st. I'm a big fan of this, anything in computer science with the background in data analytics. We need as many people as possible in that, especially because now I'm sure all of our businesses, we're all sitting on data. We need help trying to figure out what to do with the data, but also how to protect the data. So this is a great way to get involved. I believe there's sponsorship opportunities still available. If you have questions about that, email me afterwards and let me know, but here's a link for it. And also, by the way, this entire presentation, if you want a copy, I'll create a PDF and send it your way. So these links will be live for later on. But yeah, just getting our kids interested in all the great opportunities in our own backyard. A rural development fellow. Unfortunately, Randall is getting ready to wrap up at the end of this month. She's been with us for a year. She's been working closely with Casey on our Back to Business program. So this is a state program, and this actually wraps up May 10th. And this is going to be for restaurants, hotels, and creative arts. And the application again closes May 10th. If you have any questions about that, please get a hold of us ASAP. There's some great links online, thanks to the state of Illinois. We're going to make sure that we're bringing in as many of these dollars back as possible. If you have questions, both Casey and Randall can assist with that application. Next one on the list, this was a fun one. Whenever we had our last real estate development summit, we had just mentioned that we're getting ready to launch the brand. The brand did launch, and we did that at the Chamber Gala, thanks to the Chamber of Commerce. Courtney is our community marketing manager. She's been running this and working really closely with some college students, and we'll get into a little bit of the background on how we got to our new brand. So as many of you remember, back in 2022, we were working with ECI to come in and actually find out what our brand should be. They did some great surveys, SWOT analysis, focus groups to try to come up with the overall theme and logo for our community branding campaign going forward. It's important to note that this branding campaign is not set up like traditional branding campaigns. In the past, in economic development, a branding campaign would be focused on a way to attract more businesses to keep their businesses here. Bloomington-Normal has been very successful in keeping businesses and attracting new ones. We're really focused now on the workforce, how to retain workforce, how to retain all these 22,000 students in our community, how do we bring in new workforce going forward. So this is a complete workforce community branding campaign. They ended up coming up with 7 key messages because Bloomington-Normal is not one thing. I mean, it is a twin city with a great county, and everywhere you go is a little bit different. So in those messages, the first one is just, it's a premier Midwest location. If you look at our demographics, and we can stack these up amongst all the other surrounding communities, there's something going on here that's not happening in a lot of communities. So we are considered premier. Talk of the town when it comes to all the investment going on, and there's a really great quality of life, quality of place. Overall theme, like this is what we are. The other one, next one is at the center of it all. This is very important, especially for someone like me who's coming down from Chicagoland. Having access, to get back up, but also having a great airport where you can literally park for free, get through checking in less than 20 minutes, which is insane. But you can, go to the airport at 8 a.m. in Bloomington-Normal, Illinois, and end up on a beach by noon in Florida. So being at the center of it all, I can't stress this enough. Some of us might take it for granted, but down here is literally a mile a minute. So something 60 miles away, it only takes 60 minutes. So being in the middle is very, very important. We think about our interstate access, getting to St. Louis, I am a Cardinals fan, Chicago, I am a Bears fan, and then going over to Indianapolis for concerts. This is a very big selling point for us. The next one is the careers that we have here. We have a wide variety of careers, traditionally all in insurance, healthcare, and education, but now as manufacturing continues to evolve, there's a lot of cool things being made right here. And so we want to make sure that we're amplifying that and letting people know we've got a really good quality of life, quality of work. This is a big one for us as well. Double the option is not the price. This is very important for us coming down from Chicagoland, but we had some of our fraternity brothers come down for a fantasy football draft over at Pub 2 that all went to ISU with me. And, I showed them my house and they're like, they don't understand why it would cost what it costs, because it, at the time was literally half of what it costs up in Chicago. So big selling point for us. I know that rates are starting to rise, but we're still looking at 50% of what it costs to live in a major city. So for us, while our wages might not be as high as it is to live in a major metro, the cost of living is so much lower that at the end of the day, we have more disposable income. So we've got more money to play with. The next one is not your average college town. There's something to be said about having 2 great universities and also a wonderful community college. There's a vibe that goes with that. If you haven't felt it, come to Uptown, get around Westland sometime, but being around the younger minds, that it really means something when it comes to just innovation in general, which I'll go back to the entrepreneurship side. But that is a major selling point for us, because when businesses come in, they're always asking for the workforce. And the huge selling point is that they've got the end of a pipeline right in their own. So knowing that they are here, it's just trying to figure out how to capture them. Next one is beyond ordinary. And this one, I hear time and again. This was the overall theme from a lot of the surveys and focus groups, is that there's more than corn here in central Illinois, because everyone north of I-80 thinks that's what we have down here. But if you enter some of the places, whether that is Anjou above, Anjou and Agave, it's not what it looks like on the outside. And that we continue to surprise all of our guests, whether it's familiarization tours or bringing site selectors in town, they're just shocked by the quality of life and quality of place that we have. So there's more than here that meets the eye, beyond ordinary, which was almost a tag. And then the last one is connected community. This is one I probably took for granted coming here, being in economic development and a little bit behind the scenes of a lot of things. But we heard a great story from one of the young professionals in our community that actually came from New York and attended One Voice with us. And he said that there's nowhere else, especially in New York, that you get to hang out with the mayor and the elected officials and community leaders and actually go on a delegation to impact your community. And we started to realize that that happens a lot. There's a lot of boards, a lot of volunteer opportunities, not only for young professionals, but all of us. It's really easy to get involved in our community. So connected community was very important. And the overall goal with this was, to stop saying that it's Bloomington-Normal, because it's not Bloomington-Normal. It's really Bloomington times normal equals more. So the theme's going to be life multiplied. That's what we're running with right now. And with the whole goal saying that it's twice the charm, twice the jobs, twice the possibilities. Stop dreaming and multiply life's potential. Now, the logo itself, the evolution of the logo started off with, looking at the square, looking at the circle. We were trying to find something that you could look at that screams Bloomington-Normal. And there's not one thing. There's just multiple things in the community. Tried making a logo out of Waterson Towers, didn't really turn out too well. It was like a giant M. We've got the McLean County Courthouse, but then also the trail. The trail is something that connects the entire community. So we ended up taking that and mixing them all together, because it is Bloomington-Normal and McLean County. All of our 7 options, which are all destinations. And we ended up taking the circle from Normal, the square from Bloomington, turning on its side, it is location-based, creating a pin drop, putting the trail right in the middle, leading to the McLean County Courthouse. This ends up being the logo that we're doing, and drop Illinois right in the middle for this sales pitch. Because again, this is workforce retention and attraction. Just letting people know, post-pandemic, especially if you're coming out of college and money's a little bit tight, your dollar goes a lot further and your life can be. We did launch a new website for everyone to check out, lifemultiply.org. There's a lot going on this website. Thanks to Courtney, a lot of things happening on social media. We now have TikTok going on. I'm not on TikTok, but you can see with some of the numbers as you go through, we're also looking at utilizing some of our students. So they don't want to listen to me talk about how great this place is, but we do name, image, likeness with some of our Illinois State students right now, where they actually get to take over our TikTok, our Instagram, and post videos. And so you can see one down there closer to 2,000. If they're in the thousands, that's probably a day in the life of story. And that is because this second quarter, our target market are the college students and the high school students. We want to make sure that they're aware of the different opportunities coming up for the summer if they can stick around, and in the internships as well. We also just launched a Magic Mirror, got this one programmed. This is a fun tool that we're utilizing. There's Courtney there at the Bloomington High School Career Fair. How this Magic Mirror works is it's interactive. You walk up and it'll ask you if you love Bloomington-Normal. If so, tell us about it. And you hit the mirror and you can record a dance, a story, take your photo. There's a frame that can go around it. Put in your cell phone number and it'll text that to you. Hopefully they share it with the appropriate hashtags, but also giving us more content. We're looking for more testimonials. So this is for anybody that's out there that might have upcoming community events, especially if they're workforce related, quality of life related, looking forward to the farmers markets coming up. We just need more stories. I mean, we can say this so many times about how great this place is, but we need to hear your stories. So everyone that's on here that loves living, working, and playing in Bloomington-Normal, please give us a chance to show up to one of your events and capture that story. Also, once we captured the story and we got everybody interested, we want them to have something to go to, a call to action at lifemultiply.org. So we recently launched a job board. Luckily for us, this job board goes out to our businesses' websites and scrapes those and brings them back. But it's a way for us that when we start promoting this and spending some money on Facebook ads and Instagram and on the radio and in the pantograph, we want to make sure they're not just going to the website and looking around. We want to actually be able to follow them through and hopefully apply for a job, because that's the end goal of this. We want more people working in our. Also, there's a podcast. So again, this is up and running right now. We've got 10 episodes so far, but again, anybody that loves living, working, and playing here, please get a hold of Courtney. Love to have you guys on, talk about your quality of life, hopefully business that's going on, or just why you love living, working, and playing here. In the overall strategy, you'll see like Q1 was the launch. It was getting the mirror, getting a lot of the swag that's ordered. We do have bucket hats and t-shirts and different giveaways now. And retention wise, we are focused on the students right now. We're going to shift in July to commuters. We're going to be working with WGLT, the Pantograph, Central Illinois Proud. We want to get on as many outlets as possible. to promote commuting again. So if you remember last year, we ran a commuting campaign, and it was just letting people know that we've got great jobs and it's easy to drive into. Again, it's a mile a minute, so you can get 60 miles in 60 minutes. Got some great podcasts for you to listen to while you're on that drive. But we want to extend that circle now, because according to some of our data and research, we're showing people are coming 90 miles. Because if we don't have the homes here for them to live, we want to make sure that we're going after everybody else. So that commuter campaign is going to be a big push, getting them back to the Life Multiplied website, hopefully to the job board to bring more people in. By Q4, we're hoping that some of these housing products that are being built right now under construction are available, and then we want to go after boomerangs. So working with Illinois Wesleyan, working with ISU, all the high schools, anyone that used to live here that might have moved away, like my fraternity brothers, who might consider coming back now that they've got families, or they just want a lower cost of living, less commute time. Yeah, we want to go after them to say, hey, there is opportunity down here, and we are beyond the border. So hopefully, if the houses are available, we'll go with the boomerangs. If not, we'll probably extend the commute. I'll leave this one up for a little bit. If you guys are watching on your computer, you can actually take your cell phone, open up the camera. Just looking at that right now, you'll be able to click. It'll take you to what's close to a link tree that has links to everything. If not, we'll have the links available, or you can go to lifemultiplied.com. Next on the list was our real estate development summit. So we usually have between 75 and 80 attendees for our DN by the numbers. This one we pushed over 150. So when you know that you attended last time, you know that there's more speakers besides me. We had 3 other speakers. Actually, one was a panel with the whole intent of showing that there's a lot going on in our community and that the numbers aren't always aligned with all the activity. Big shout out to DCO, Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, for coming down and letting us know about all the new incentives and tools that are in the toolbox to encourage development. That was the goal, though. It was to bring all of our local developers into one room, anyone that was involved in the development community, but also bring in some outsiders. We build products that we don't build here, to let them know that, hey, there's a lot going on and we're here to assist. So that was a great one. We've had multiple familiarization tours afterwards. The conversation's still going, and I believe it's doing its trick for having everyone show up. So thanks everyone who attended that extended DN by the numbers back in February. Another one that's on our strategic plan is a residential expansion and attraction. This is something we haven't done in the past, but knowing the workforce demands, listening to our businesses, we need homes. We need homes on both ends, whether that's the higher, newer end things compared to some of the lower end things. There's not a lot when it comes to transitional housing for our students. So we're looking at both areas to try to get more product into the market, not only so we can retain workers, but also bring in new workers if we go for that boomerang. An industrial park. I believe there is a ton of potential for an industrial park in this community, probably multiple industrial parks. We've been working very closely with Central Illinois Regional Airport. They do have land that is outside of the fence that actually touches the rail, and that is all open for development right now. Could be really cool, especially with some dollars being allocated for Hamilton Road, because if that connects all the way over 51, that opens up a lot of that area. Another great area for potential is all in northwest Normal. Anything that's around Meridian, that thing is wide open. What we've been missing is infrastructure. So the concept of an industrial park, it doesn't happen without infrastructure. So that first bubble that we saw in the flywheel, get the infrastructure there. It's almost a build it and they will come. The challenge that you've seen from all the RFPs or projects that we talk about every quarter is that a lot of people want to be here, but if we don't have the building space and then we don't have the infrastructure, it's just cornfields, which is great for us. But if we can do some infill and upgrade some of our infrastructure, we can start attracting more development, hopefully capturing some of these suppliers, but also manufacturers that want to be here because we're starting to be known as a great place to manufacture. Next one on here is our entrepreneurship ecosystem. And again, I mentioned this earlier, we're trying to figure this out. Like this is one where we have a committee right now. We want to know the current state as far as everyone working on entrepreneurship, and then also what a future state could look like and who we need to partner with on that. But we're looking at some of our neighbors. You know, we talked about this before, but if you go to Peoria, they've got Distillery Labs that is under construction now, almost complete, I believe. And then also if you go over to Champaign, they've got this massive research park. So for startups for us, we've got a wonderful SBDC that's been helping out with business plans, some great things going on between OSF and ISU, more potential with ISU too, and they are all involved with our entrepreneurship committee. But we want to build this thing out the same way we've been working on workforce, because we do believe that, again, there's a lot of potential here. Just trying to find out who's been doing it right, find out where we're at, what we can do when we grow up. Probably have to do some fundraising to maybe even get a new position to handle all this full time. But once we find out what that gap is, like anything else we do at the EDC, we'll figure out how we close that gap. But this is a very exciting opportunity. But like I said, again, there's a really good brain trust in this community, a lot of great ideas. We just need to get some infrastructure to help nurture those. The next one is virtual tours. There's actually one of these that's going to be going on pretty soon, I believe, with the airport. Thanks to Corn Belt again. But if anyone out there, any property owners, any landlords, we will pay to do 3D models, also to do drone footage of your sites. We just really want to get some really solid property packages, because we send a lot of flyers out to different site selectors and businesses. But if we've got video or even some 3D models of what could be, we know that that will go a lot further than just a standard flyer. So any of the realtors that are around here, any of our finance professionals that know of any landowners that need some help promoting their properties, get a hold of us. We do have dollars in the budget allocated to help promote those properties. Next one is a smart cities. So smart cities is a great collaboration between the city, the town, the county, ISU, Illinois West, so we have Harlan Community College, basically all the IT guys getting together. And I believe this was a brainchild of Kevin McCarthy and Jamie Matthew, pulling everyone together. But a great way to try to share best practices, share just overall knowledge and what we're working on, because there's a lot of different software systems and even hardware. And there's better ways, again, to collaborate, hopefully get everybody on the same page. And this is very important for new businesses. They want to see the collaboration, which is why One Voice is so successful. But then also, knowing it's a twin city with a county, if we're on the same systems, it's going to go a lot further as we continue to upgrade the private sector. We want to make sure the public sector is following suit. And then the last one that's on here is our regional economic development. We've got this new Mid-Illinois Collaborative. That is what we're calling ourselves. And that's a partnership between Bloomington-Normal, Peoria, Champaign-Urbana, Springfield, Decatur, and Tuscola. So we've been getting together since I've been here, I think even before, especially our strong relationship with Peoria. But now having all these together, we've partnered on different familiarization tours. So sometimes Peoria will host, we'll all go over there. Other times it's been a joint effort between Peoria and Bloomington-Normal, and we'll have site selectors come in, foreign delegations. We work as a whole because the workforce that we're selling, the suppliers that we're selling, and just the overall community assets, it is the region. It's that 60-mile radius, and we're right in the middle. So we're blessed by this location again. We talked about location earlier, but this is a great collaborative. I've known a lot of these economic development pros for a while, multiple from Decatur, but it's a great way just to, what we say, market regionally and sell locally. Even right now, there is a group, I think 2 or 3 of the communities are out in DC for Select USA. Something we went to last year. We'll probably go every other year. We want to make sure that at least someone from the region is at every site selection show selling Central Illinois. We used to think it's Bloomington versus Peoria. It's not. It's really more of us versus Chicagoland, and honestly more closer to us against Austin for some of the growing areas that are down in the Sun Belt. We want to make sure that we're all selling the same thing, because if Illinois wins, Central Illinois wins, we win as well. All right, going forward, what are we looking at? Reflecting back on what worked, what didn't, how we can solve that. One, we got to start telling some of these stories. This one just came out, and I'm still, I don't want to say I'm shocked, but some of the responses are like, how is Illinois ranked number 2? You never really think about Illinois, but yeah, we were ranked number 2 by Site Selection Magazine as a state for corporate investment. And it's true. There's always this governor's cup that goes on, and we're always like top 3 or 4, but we don't do a very good job of telling that story that there's a lot of investment, a lot of wins that are going on in Illinois. It's easy to look over at Indiana and see their Illinois billboards changing that narrative, but we have to tell our story. So it was great to get this earlier this week. And then the last one that we got out, thanks to Tom Good for sharing this. But yeah, we were ranked number 2 in the nation by the Wall Street Journal for emerging housing markets. This is one that we saw coming a while ago, which is why we want to do the housing study to say, hey, there's so much development going on that eventually there's going to be a ripple effect for the indirect jobs and induced jobs. And part of that is construction for the houses. If we don't have the houses, we can't have the people. We don't have the workforce. All this comes to a halt. Somebody asked me earlier on, what's the goal for this year? And for me, it's not to drop the ball. There's so much momentum on our side, we have to keep this going. So it was pretty cool to find out that we were ranked number 2 in the nation because of emerging housing. Also, the Workforce Development Strategic Plan, we are updating our current state. Hopefully this month, we're going to be doing a SWOT analysis on what's working and what's not, and then develop into the future state for the entire system. STEM's a big part of that. Hopefully, again, we'll get an announcement pretty soon of some of what's going on with the Heat Academy. We just went over a little bit on what we're doing for attraction, and the Chamber's got some excellent things going on for retention. And also, it's familiarization tour. So we call these FAM tours. It's that time of the year. It is beautiful down here. We don't do a lot of these over the winter because it's cold. But yeah, I want to give a special thank you to, we've already hosted a couple. So DCO has been a great partner to be able to talk about the state's incentives. City of Bloomington, Town of Normal, both the mayors, like we'll go out and have lunch, and it's wonderful to have that joint effort to get that enthusiasm going before we go talk to the staff to find out what available sites are here, what incentives, what we're looking for. But if you ever see me out and about with a group, please stop by, say hello, tell them what you love about the place, because I'm literally selling you along with the community, because that is one of the reasons that Rivian chose this place. They came in, they saw this great facility, some opportunity there, but we're really looking at the robotics, ended up with the coffee hound and fell in love with the people. So if you see me out having lunch, somebody looks like they're from out of town, stop by, say hi. Please don't ask them who they are though, because they're supposed to be confidential unless they want to tell you. But for us, that's just how we're selling. So we go to these shows, we work with these site selectors to eventually bring them in town. And once we got them here, you guys help me sell this entire thing. So you see us, big shout out to Neil Finland as well. He set up multiple of these. But there's a lot of people that are interested because we've got a great story to tell. So again, want to keep that momentum going. The other one that's been going on, a lot of speaking engagements. One of the items that's not in the public strategic plan is just economic development education. So we're trying to get out and about. We do quarterly events to talk about updates, but to talk about overall economic development and all the players that are in the system. We've spoken to young professionals, leadership in McLean County, the Bar Association, Society of Human Resource Managers. Anybody out there that's got an event going on and you want an economic update, or you just want to talk economic development, more than happy to come out, or our staff, just to let everybody know how this whole system works, because this is not an EDC thing. It's literally a town, a city, a county, state of Illinois, a lot of community partners in the background. We want to show who you need to contact depending on what phase you're in. If you're thinking about leaving, please let us know ASAP, because there's probably some programs we've got locally and at the state that we can help to keep here. Don't believe everything you hear from other states. You see time and time again incentive deals that are announced and that really never comes through. And if they are, offering a ton of money, there's probably something they're trying to make up for. So let us know before you ever consider going anywhere else. But if you're thinking about expansion as well, we need to talk. So we need to get you connected with the right people, smooth out that process. And the last thing we want is for any of our businesses to develop without getting the incentives that they could be entitled to. It's hard whenever you hear about a business going in, then the next one goes in, and your first business says, why did they get that whenever they qualify? You want to make sure that everyone's getting access to the same tools in the toolbox. This one sharing for our Chamber of Commerce, big workforce retention event coming up on June 9th. Another QR code if you want to pull out your camera. If not, we'll get you a link. This is over at Fiala Brothers, right up the street here in Uptown Normal. But great opportunity for your new employees, your interns, just to get together and network and figure out what it means to become BDN. So on that whole scale of workforce development, the Chamber is hyper-focused on retaining the talent that is here. This is a great opportunity for that. So please follow up with Charlie. Again, scan the QR code, or we'll get you a link later on. But yeah, we want to make sure that when the talent is in town, that we try to keep here. Next one to be on the lookout for, Chamber Needs Assessment Survey. So this is one that was probably done 5 or 6 years ago. Good idea to keep updating that, seeing what's changed, because this gets passed right along to our partners at the high school level, but also at Harlan Community College and our other educators. So we want to make sure that we are, teaching, the right things that you want as a business. So without that, that feedback is kind of hard to figure out, but we're going to make that connection. Chamber of Commerce is leading this effort. We did it last time, so we're full support, helping spread the word. I'm not sure how long it's going to take. I don't think too long to fill out this survey, but your feedback is very valuable to help shape the future workforce development. And then this one just got announced and approved last night. We're really excited about this for entrepreneurship. So McLean County ended up having some dollars that we've been using in the past. That was for, originally it was for startups, but they were startup loans. And then during the pandemic, we converted those over to recovery loans. So really for people that get hit hard and we're making investments still. Now we're actually duplicating what Monticello is doing. And they have commercial rent incentive. So the idea for this, for all of our, financial pros in the audience, but then also for all of our realtors, if you have vacant space, there will be a way now to apply to get $10,000 in commercial rent assistance. The idea is that we want to get our home-based businesses or any startups out of their homes and filling some of these vacancies. Because vacancy leads to more vacancy. So we will pay the landlords directly up to $10,000 on a lease. It can't just be, this is it. It's got to be a full lease. We'll cover that for probably about 6 months, up to 10 grand to get people to fill these spaces. Hopefully this summer, that'll generate some momentum. You apply through EDC. We get approval through our CDC, Community Development Corporation, on behalf of McLean County. So thank you. Big shout out to the McLean County Finance Committee for making another amendment. We've done this a couple of times. They were forgivable loans. We did 19 of those. There's still $380,000 left over. So we're hoping to do the commercial rent assistance, but then also relaunching the revolving loan fund. So we could help pay for your rent, but on top of that, if you needed any type of infrastructure improvements to the property or machinery that goes in, you can get a low interest $20,000 revolving loan that hopefully stacks with your financial loan. So this would be gap financing. So if you come to us with a bank and says, hey, it's a little bit risky because it is a startup, they'll cover about 80%. We can do 20% up to $20,000 stuff. So if you stack those together, hopefully this summer we start getting some startups into some of these vacant commercial spaces. This would also work for any shared spaces that are out there. So I know there's a couple of those as well. So really excited about this one. Just got approved last night. We'll work on the application and hopefully have it up next month. Got any questions, get a hold of me though. This one should be pretty cool. How you can help. One, get involved. So community marketing wise, if you want to be on the podcast, if you want some information on how to get involved with the new brand, there's Courtney's email address. Please get a hold of her. Love to have you on and get your story. Rural development wise, again, Randall is going to be done at the end of the month. We're going to keep this going though. We'll have some internship opportunities pretty soon, either for summer or fall, to make sure that we are continuing our rural efforts. So if you know anybody interested in joining EDC, there will be a paid internship. Again, Carl, business retention. If anyone that's here, that's any business overall, you need to call Carl. You want to make sure that we're hearing from you, that we're meeting your needs, and if there's any opportunity for you to expand, it all starts right here with Carl. Real estate development wise, we want to make sure that we've got your properties. If your properties are not in our system, even if they're not public, anytime we get an RFP or if a business locally thinks about expanding or someone from the outside, they'll call us directly and they'll ask for 50,000 square feet. If we don't have that 50,000 square feet in our system, then we are missing out. So we want to make sure that we know about all the available sites, whether that's land, whether that's buildings, pocket listings, everything's confidential here at the EDC. As you saw, we double coded all. So get a hold of Casey, even if you're just not a land owner, but you are in the real estate sector, whether that's construction, an engineer, architects, we want to talk to you because we want to make sure that your clients are getting the same incentives that all the bigger guys are getting as well. Also, Nora just joined us. So Nora is our new office manager. She comes with some great experience in the property management game, but anyone that's interested in joining the EDC, please get a hold of Nora. We've got an awesome investor perk system. We just got 2 new investors last week. This is a great way to get involved, get on our committees, and help us support you. And that's kind of what it is. There is no direct benefit of being a member. So we're not a membership organization. We're an investor organization. So the more that we can do here, the more indirect opportunities that there are, whether it's in hotels, because as businesses expand, they spend more nights in hotels, on their restaurants. There's so much more disposable income based off of our projects. It's pretty easy to map that out through our models to show what the overall return has been from an investment. You got any questions about that? Nora's email's right there. She just started this week, tons of personality, great to have her on board. And again, if anybody needs a speaker, if you want to talk economic development, let me know. There's my email. More than happy to come talk to your group, either about another economic update like this or topics about the overall economy or just economic development in general. Again, the more people know about our system and who's involved, the easier it will be for all of us to keep this economy vibrant. All right, and with that, we'll try questions. I'm not sure you can get a whole lot through here, but we will see. The Q&A should be open. You want to type anything? If not, again, feel free to email. This will be available online. If you want us to copy the strategic plan or anything, just get a hold of us and we'll shoot that your way. But thanks again, everybody, for attending the webinar, and we'll hopefully have this up on YouTube pretty soon.